To continue with stoichiometry, the next what we are going to do is empirical formula and molecular formula. Okay, now empirical formula means the simplest formula. Okay, now hydrogen peroxide is H2O2. So if we cancel out the 2's, 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2, what do we get? HO. So HO is the simplest formula which is known as empirical formula. Now for glucose, what is the empirical formula? The formula of glucose is C6H12O6. If we cancel it by 6 ones are 6, 6 twos are 12, 6 ones are 6. So it becomes CH2O. Okay, so when we multiply CH2O with 6, we get the molecular formula. So this is the molecular formula. Similarly, in hydrogen peroxide, HO is the empirical formula, and when we multiply it by 2, we get H2O2. So H2O2 is the molecular formula. Now you will have to find the empirical formula and molecular formula based on percentage composition. Now what is percentage composition? Percentage composition means out of 100 percentage. Okay, now for example, if we take calcium oxide, the atomic weight of calcium is 40, atomic weight of oxygen is 16. So you find the molecular weight, that is 40 plus 16, that is 56 grams. So again, moving on to the unitary method, 56 grams of calcium oxide contains 40 grams of calcium. 1 gram will contain 40 by 56. Therefore, 100 grams will contain 40 by 56 into 100, that is 71.4%. So this is the percentage composition of calcium that we have found out. So similarly, the percentage composition of that is oxygen can also be found out. Okay, so you need the percentage composition. In most of the sums, the percentage composition will be given to you, and you will have to find the empirical formula and molecular formula when using this percentage composition. So how do we go about finding the empirical and molecular formula when the percentage composition is given? So here, to find the empirical formula of an organic compound which contains 40% carbon, 6.7% hydrogen and 53.3% oxygen. So what you do is you make a table like this. Okay, so here you have you write down carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So you write down the percentage composition which is given, 40, 6.7, 53.3. Then you should write down the atomic mass. You know of carbon is 12, hydrogen is 1, oxygen is 16. Now you find the atomic ratio. Now to find the atomic ratio, what you do is you divide the percentage composition with the atomic mass. So in this case it will be 40 by 12, which comes to 3.3, 6.7 by 1, which is 6.7, and 53.3 divided by 16, which comes to 3.3. After that, you find the simplest ratio. How do you find the simplest ratio? So out of this 3, which is the smallest? 3.3. So you divide it with the smallest atomic ratio. 3.3 divided by 3.3 gives you 1. 6.7 by 3.3 approximately 2. And 3.3 divided by 3 gives you 1. So here you have carbon 1, hydrogen 2, oxygen 1. So what is the empirical formula? CH2O. Okay, so we just found out the empirical formula of the organic compound is CH2O. So how do we find the molecular formula? So to find the molecular formula, you must find a simple number n to multiply it with the empirical formula. That means the molecular formula of CH2O will be n, the simplest number that you're going to find, and multiply it with CH2O. So how do we find n? Very simple. You divide molecular weight, which will be given to you, with the empirical formula weight, which you have to find out. You have to find the empirical formula weight. Now here let's see, the molecular weight given is 60. And now we need to find the empirical formula weight of CH2O. So when we work out carbon 12, hydrogen 2 plus 16, when we add up, we get 30. Okay. So how do we get N? The molecular weight divided by empirical formula weight, that is 60 divided by 30. What do we get? 2. So how do we find the molecular formula? N multiply it with CH2O. So 2 you multiply, what do we get? C2, 2 2s are H4, O2. So C2, H4, O2 is your molecular formula.